Hello. About 12 hours ago, an horrific event took place in El Paso, Texas, when a gunman took a rifle into a Walmart and has killed at least 20 people, according to the latest reports. Now, the manifesto that this gunman wrote before he went and took this drastic action and this horrible thing was posted on Drudge Report, and I have read through that manifesto several times. And I feel compelled to say a couple of things about the man that did this and the manifesto. Here's my thoughts. Having read the manifesto written by the Walmart shooter, I believe I can point out a few things that are so obvious that what is called the mainstream media will miss them. Let me correct myself. They won't really miss what's there. They will simply ignore it and proceed to present what happened in the light of their beliefs and spew forth their usual false news narrative. From the first paragraph, it is clear that the reason the shooter did what he did is because he sensed a lack of concern and a lack of action from our society against the things that will destroy our society. From the political reasons and economic reasons sections of his manifesto, we see that he blames three main culprits. One, corporations. Two, a government that is so crippled by partisan bickering it is incapable of acting for the good of the people. And three, the destruction of the environment. Skipping the reasoning process he takes the reader through about the weapon to use and the tactics to use in his attack, we can go straight to his personal reasons and thoughts. Here we see that it is frustration that leads him making the decision, premeditated decision, that if he did not step up and do something, our country would go down the tubes because of inaction. It seems clear that he hopes his action will trigger an awakening of our citizenry that will take us out of our inactive funk or whatever we're in. Notice he does not ask that others take up arms and duplicate his action. He instead targets his manifesto on the path of waking people up. Taking a closer look at his culprits, corporations, government, and environmental destroyers, we see that he considers corporations and the environmental issues just exactly the same way every single presidential candidate of the Democrat Party views them. And as far as the functionality of the government goes, he believes what the mainstream media has been spewing out for decades. Having said this, do not think that I absolve the Republicans. On the contrary, they are so weak and actionless that they have allowed the one-sided presentation of so-called facts to prevail for decades. What is my takeaway from this horrible mess in El Paso? As a nation, we must allow the open discussion of differing ideas to be freely engaged in, and we must use our individual power over the press. By this, I mean we must start boycotting the companies that pay the news media for putting their programs on the air. If the companies lose money, they'll stop sponsoring the false news outlets. That is the way we as individuals can affect what's being presented to us, and we can change the future of our country if enough of us have enough backbone to stick to such a plan. Eventually, the economic pressure will bring a semblance of honesty back to the news media where they can start reporting the news instead of trying to influence it. Now, having said all of that about what happened in El Paso and the manifesto, let me say that the things that he pointed out that are wrong with our country are problems. Not exactly the way he thinks they are in every instance, but let's look at a couple of things. The LGBT alphabet movement is an eventual culture killer. Not enough babies will be born to keep this society going. Abortion is an eventual culture killer. Not enough babies will be born to keep the society going. The economic system that we have set up where our money is virtually valueless, it's just imaginary value, will eventually fall and throw us into an economic situation that nobody wants to see. Also, the fact that we have allowed a multi-level judicial system to put itself in place in our country where important, so-called important and big and rich people have a different standard of the justice system being applied to them than the rest of us, that will also destroy a nation. There's one more thing that can destroy our nation, and that is the incursion, the implantation of Sharia by Islam into our country. Now, the unequal justice, the abortion, which, by the way, looks like we might be gaining some ground on that issue, and the other things that we mentioned, those things are already deeply implanted into not only our laws, but implanted into the very fabric of our society. The LGBT, the home, the acceptance of abortion, the monetary system, and the unequal justice system are already part of our society to such a deep degree it's going to take a humongous effort to overcome them, change them, and undo the damage that's already been done. However, the Sharia issue, although it has been an undertaking of the last couple of 3 decades that they have been working on their plan, their game plan, which has worked in other countries, they've been working it here. It hasn't gotten to the point where we have to have a civil war to change it. But if we keep ignoring it, if we keep hoping somebody else will do something to change it, then it's going to get to that point where it's going to be just as difficult to change that aspect of our country as it is changing the aspect of the economic system or the acceptance of abortion or the acceptance of a two-tier justice system. So my point is this: let's attack at least the Sharia aspect before they get so entrenched that it becomes more difficult and almost impossible to change. Let's attack that one before it gets worse. The others are already worse. We need to tackle them too, and thank God there's a lot of groups that are doing that and keep on doing it. But it makes no sense to sit by and allow the Sharia aspect to get worse and worse and worse. Whether you helped with the effort or not is clearly your decision. You can be a part of the solution to our country's problems, or you can be a part of the problem. The choice is yours. Go to www.ourstab.com to sign up to help us keep Sharia from being entrenched in our culture. Won't cost you a penny. Those of you that would like to put in more effort and help with the effort and put some work in, we'll be glad to have you. The rest of you, if you just sign up and get your name on our roster, it makes our voice a little stronger. Those of you that are married, go ahead and sign up individually, the husband and the wife. That adds 2 names on the roster for your family segment there. And like I say, the more numbers we have, the louder our voice will be. So you don't have to become active. You don't have to go to the streets. You don't have to donate money. We don't even ask for donations. We just let our folks know when there's a need, and so far all the needs have been met. But at least I am going to ask that you get your name on the list so that we can legitimately add another number to our voice. Go to ourstab.com, sign up to get your name on the list, which we don't pass that list out anywhere at all. But get your name on the list so our numbers grow, so our voice will be louder. It's a simple thing to do. Thank you.